The court is now in session. Mr. Am Hoi, please make the report again concerning the witness to come and testify before the chamber. Greffier. Mr. President, for today's proceedings, all parties to this case are present. Mr. Nguyen Chia is present in the holding cell downstairs. He has waived his rights to be present in the courtroom. The waiver has been delivered to the greffier. A witness who is testified today, 2 TCW 987, confirms that to the best of his knowledge, he has no relationship by blood or by law to any of the two accused, Nguyen Chia and Khieu Samphan, or to any of the civil parties admitted in this case. The witness took a note before the Iron Club statue this morning, and the witness has a duty counsel, Doj Paris, with him, but Doj Paris is absent due to his personal reason. The witness is already in the waiting room waiting to be called by the chamber. And there is a reserve witness, 2 TCW 988. To the best of that witness, the witness has no relationship by blood or by law to any of the two accused, Nguyen Chia and Khieu Samphan, or to any of the civil parties admitted in this case. The reserve witness will take a note before the Iron Club statue this morning. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. The chamber now decides on the request by Nguyen Chia. The chamber has received a waiver from Nguyen Chia dated 11 January 2016, which states that due to his health, headache, back pain, he cannot sit or concentrate for long, and in order to effectively participate in future hearings, he requests to waive his right to participate in and be present at the 11 January 2016 hearing. His counsel has advised him about the consequences of this waiver and that it cannot in any account be construed as a waiver of his right to be tried fairly or to challenge evidence presented to or admitted by this court at any time during this trial. Having seen the medical report of Nguyen Chia by the duty doctor for the accused at the ECCC dated 11 January 2016, which notes that Nguyen Chia today has a back pain and when he sits for long, and recommends that the chamber grant him his request so that he can follow the proceedings remotely from the holding cell downstairs. Based on the above information and pursuant to Rule 81.5 of the ECCC internal rules, the chamber grants Nguyen Chia's request to follow today's proceedings remotely from the holding cell downstairs via audio-visual means. AV unit personnel are instructed to link the proceedings to the room downstairs so that he can follow the proceeding. This applies to the whole day. Next, the court officer is instructed to bring in 2 TCW 987 into the witness stand before the chamber. President, good morning, Mr. Witness. What is your name? Answer, my name is Moy Vani. Question, when were you born, Mr. Moy Vani? President, please observe the microphone before you give your answer. You can answer only after the tips on the microphone becomes red. At that time, the voice or your statement will go through the interpretation system, and the interpreters can interpret into French and English. So please wait before you speak. Do you recall when you were born? Answer, I was born on 7 June 1967. President, thank you, Mr. Vani. And where were you born? Answer, I was born in Onlong O village, So Kong Commune, Kong Mis District, Kampong Cham Province. Oh, President, what is your current address? Answer, I am living in Sambumir Ko village, PMG Kong Commune, Kong Mis District, Kampong Cham Province. President, thank you. And what is your current occupation? Answer, I am a teacher in the primary school. President, what are your parents' names? Answer, Eng Lee. And my mother's name is Klok Hieng. President, what is your wife's name and how many children do you have? Answer, my wife's name is Keng Sup Piep. She is deceased and I have one child. President, Mr. Moivani, based on the Greffier report, to the best of your knowledge, you have no relationship by blood or by law to any of the two accused, Nuon Chi and Khieu Sampon, or to any of the civil parties admitted in this case. Is the report correct? Answer, yes, that is correct. Question, before you are here, have you already taken an oath before the Iron Club statue to the east of this courtroom? Answer, yes, I have. President, I am now telling your rights and obligations before the chamber. Your rights as a witness in the proceedings before the chamber, you may refuse to respond to any question or to make any comment which may incriminate you, right against self-incrimination. This means that you may refuse to provide your response or to make any comment that could lead you to being prosecuted. Your obligations as a witness in the proceedings before the chamber, you must respond to any questions by the bench or relevant parties, except where your response or comments to those questions may incriminate you, as the chamber has just informed you of your rights as a witness. As a witness, you must also tell the truth that you have known, heard, seen, remembered, experienced, or observed directly about an event or occurrence relevant to the questions that the bench or parties pose to you. Mr. Moivani, have you ever been interviewed or provided the statements to the investigator of the OCIJ of the ECCC? If they happened, how many times did they take place? Answer, I have been interviewed twice. one before the tribunal, and another time was at my location. President, before your appearance, have you reviewed or read the statements you provided 2 times to the investigator of the OCIJ to refresh your memory? Answer, I can recall some points. President, to your best knowledge, do the statements that you read to refresh your memory correspond to the answers you provided to the investigator 2 times? Answer, I do not know how to say about it. I am waiting for the questions before I can say something about it, since the interviews happened a long time ago. President, I want to know whether the statements within your written records of interview correspond to what you have told the investigator of the OCIJ. I understand that you provided your testimony 4 or 5 years ago, but do they correspond to what you answered at the time? Answer. Maybe they correspond to my statements. President, the vessel has provided a duty counsel to accompany you during the time you are testifying, particularly when it comes to the rights that you have and also the obligation that you have to adhere to. Unfortunately, the Duty Council de Paris is not able to be here before the chamber with you. Now, the chamber wants to ask you, Mr. Mui Wani, did you meet the Duty Council a few days ago before you are here? The Duty Council that the vessel provided to you? Answer. Yes. President, did you consult with your Duty Council de Paris? President, did you meet with your Duty Council de Paris to discuss the issue a few days ago? Did you meet him? Answer, yes, I met him. President, have you consulted with your Duty Council about the answers that you will provide to the chamber? Answer, I have consulted with my Duty Council, and I was advised by him that I may answer only what I know and what I can recall. President, thank you, Mr. Mui Wani. Do you understand the rights that I have just informed you? The rights against self-incrimination. Do you understand the term right against self-incrimination, and have you consulted it with your duty counsel? Answer: I was explained by my duty counsel. President: do you understand the term clearly after you were explained by him? Answer: I understand it, but not to all its meaning. President: now I informed you again. You may refuse to respond to any question or to make any comments which incriminate you. For example, when the question asks about your personal participation in the crimes committed in the period, you may be asked about the killings, the arrest of people in the period. Such questions may incriminate you that acts were the hatred ones by the society. So when you are asked such questions, it is your right to respond or not to respond to those questions. And if you feel that you don't want to respond to the question, you can do so. And if you are not quite sure whether the questions may incriminate you, the chamber allows you to make a phone call to your duty counsel to consult with him. After then, the chamber may defer the question to a later stage after you agree to give your answer after the consultation with your duty counsel. And the chamber will consider on case-by-case basis the questions that may be asked, may be put to you. So it depends on the nature of question posed by parties. Do you understand what I have just explained you, since you are a teacher? Witness: yes, I can understand it, Mr. President. President: thank you, Mr. Moy Vani. During the proceeding on Internal Rule 91 base of the ECCC, the floor is given to the co-prosecutors before other parties. The co-prosecutors and lead co-lawyers for civil party have 2 sessions to put question to this witness. You have the floor now.
Bonjour, Monsieur le Président.
Good morning, Mr. President, Your Honors. Good morning to all the parties. And to you, witness. My name is Vincent de Wilde. I will put some questions to you on behalf of the Office of the Co-Prosecutors this morning and part of this afternoon. May I request you to carefully listen to the questions. If you do not understand any question, let me know. And do not invent anything with regard to what you saw and heard. You said earlier that you were born on the 7th of June 1977. That is what you also stated in the record of your interview. Can you clarify that that is the correct and precise date of your birth, or is that the date mentioned on your identity card?
That is the date of birth on my ID card. Est-ce que votre date
Is your real date of birth same as the one on your identity card, or may there be a light difference between the two dates?
interpreter cannot hear the statement from the witness? Witness, it is the record on my identity card. Je vais vous demander, monsieur le témoin.
Witness, may I request you to speak a lot louder because we do not hear your testimony very well. As regards your age, I would like to proceed in another manner. Do you remember your age when you worked at the Otra Kun Pagoda?
I cannot recall my real age at the time. However, I was pretty young back then. En réalité, monsieur, vous...
As a matter of fact, witness, you gave two dates that are slightly different, but I must say that they are within the same age brackets. Let me remind you of what you say in your second record of interview, E319/19.3.93, and it is answer number 3, and this is what you stated therein, and I quote, "As far as I remember, at that time I was about 12 years old when they sent me from the village to Wat Otra Kun Pagoda," end of quote. And in another record of interview, the first of the 27th of August 2011, this is what you stated in answer to question number 1 in E319/19.3.219. And this is what you stated. At the time I was sent to live in the Otra Kun Pagoda, I was a security guard and I was about 14 years old. I always accompanied my boss on his visit to local military bases, end of quote. If I reckon on the basis of the date on your identity card, you were aged approximately 11 in 1978. You made mention of 12 years and 14 years in the two records of the interview. Do you really remember those dates, or you are just giving an estimate between 12 and 14? And I'm still referring to the period of 1978.
I didn't pay much attention to my age. However, the age range that I gave during my interviews is my personal estimation only. Back then I was around 11 or 12 years old.
Très bien. Avant.
Very well. Before we deal with specific facts, I would like us to go through your life experience, the places where you lived and the different jobs you did during that period from 1975 to 1979. You said you were born in Damban Ok village, so it's commune, Kangmies district in Kampong Cham. Do you remember approximately in what year your village was occupied by the revolutionary forces? Was that well before 1975, for instance?
I did not know about that. When you refer to a year, during the regime, I could not tell you at all.
Très bien. Juste
Very well. Precisely during the regime, you were quite young. Where did you live successively? You were first of all in the village, and where did you go after leaving Anlong Ak village?
I lived in a children mobile unit in the village. And there were actually problems while I was there, as I took rides from the children unit to my home, and then the unit chief actually reassigned me from the children unit to a mobile unit for adults to work there.
Et quand vous dites que vous avez été redéployé,
When you said you were redeployed to a unit for adults, do you mean that they were adolescents or they were indeed adults? What was the age range of the persons working in that mobile unit where you said you were deployed?
The age range was between 20 to 30 years old.
donc vous étiez le Benjamin de cette.
Does that mean that you were the last person, that is the Benjamin, in that mobile unit, the youngest person in that unit?
Yes, that is correct. I was the youngest member.
Est-ce que cette unité a beaucoup bougé dans le.
Did that unit move about a lot in Piem Chikang district, or it was stationed at a specific location in a specific commune? Could you please give us the names of the places where you worked?
Yes, I can do that. Initially, I was assigned to a mobile unit in the commune. Later on, I was redeployed to the district mobile unit, that is to work within the areas under the district.
Est-ce qu'il vous est arrivé de travailler dans la commune?
Did you ever work in Sdao commune? And I'm pronouncing perhaps not correctly. It is SDAO.
Yes, I did work at the Sdao commune.
Et pendant combien de mois ou d'années?
And for how many months or years? And I know that your movements were complicated and you may not give an accurate time. For how many months and years did you work in that mobile unit at the level of the district?
I can recall how many months I worked at the district mobile unit. In short, I cannot recall how many months or when I actually worked at the district mobile unit.
Est-ce que vous vous souvenez
Do you recall approximately how many months before the arrival of the Vietnamese you were transferred to Otra Kwon Pagoda?
I worked there for a little bit over 2 years.
Est-ce que vous êtes certain de...
Are you sure of what you're saying, that you worked for slightly more than 2 years at the Otrakon Pagoda? Was that the time when you were working for Han?
Je vais reprononcer. Horn.
Let me pronounce the word again. It is H circumflex accent A N or H O R N.
Yes, I worked for a horn. And you can say that I worked as a bodyguard for him. I usually accompanied him when he went to visit the soldiers within the district.
Bien, je vais revenir.
Very well. I will return to that person called Horn in your record of interview E319/19.3.93. This is what you stated in answer to question number 38. And I quote, I worked with Horn for 5 to 6 months, and then the Khmer Rouge regime collapsed. End of quote. So here you are telling the investigators that it was 5 to 6 months before the fall of the regime, and now you're talking of 2 years. Can you clarify the duration of that period? Was it over a number of months or over a number of years?
Maybe I misunderstood your previous question. I actually worked in the mobile unit for quite a long time. Then I was called to work for him for months.
D'accord, donc je comprends.
Very well. So I do understand now that when you did say that you worked for more than 2 years, that was in the district mobile unit, and thereafter at Otrakon Pagoda you worked for a number of months. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Bien, lorsque vous...
Very well. When you were working with Han, did you spend the night at the Otrakon Pagoda every day, or you only stayed there occasionally, that is from time to time?
I did not spend much time staying at Otrakun. Usually I would stay with the soldiers.
Et quand vous dites en général...
And when you say that in general you stayed with the soldiers, do you mean that the district soldiers were stationed at different locations in Kangmy's district, or you are referring to the group of soldiers at the Otrakon Pagoda?
I refer to a group of soldiers at the commune level. And I did not refer to soldiers who were stationed at Otrakun Pagoda.
Je vais revenir tout à l'heure sur le rôle de...
We'll talk about the role of Horn shortly. Can you tell us, for the time being, where Horn's office was, and what were his duties and responsibilities at the level of the district?
Please repeat your question.
Je vais la couper en...
I will split it into 2 parts. Did Horn have an office at Otrakon Pagoda?
Yes, he did. He had his office in Otakun Pagoda. And Otakun Pagoda was a security center, and he also used it as his office.
Et quelle était la fonction de Horn?
And what was the position of Horn at the Wat Otrakun Security Center?
Horn was chief of security of Gongmi district.
Et à ce titre de chef de sécurité.
And in that capacity as district security chief at Kangmias, was he also the chief of security at the Otrakun Pagoda?
Yes. He was chief of security, and he was also chief of soldiers at the district level.
Je vais maintenant en revenir à la.
I would like us to talk about the period when you worked for approximately 2 years in the district mobile unit. Were there any youngsters who came from the villages in your commune? And were there other youths who came from all the communes in Kangmia's district and who worked in that mobile unit?
Yes. It was mixed within the communes. The forces for the district mobile unit composed of those forces from communes under the district.
Et qui dirigeait cette unité?
And who was the leader of that mobile unit?
I cannot recall the name right now. No, I cannot recall it.
Je vais vous rappeler le nom.
I will remind you of the name you gave the OCIJ investigators. You said in answer number 73 of your second record of interview, E319/19.3.93. And this is what you stated. The head of that mobile unit was called Chun, CHHUN. And he was, by the way, from the district level. Does that refresh your memory?
Yes, it refreshes my memory now. The chief was Chun.
Combien y avait-il de jeunes hommes?
How many youths worked in your mobile unit?
Peut-être pas la grande unité.
It was not the big unit at the level of the district. I am referring to the unit to which you belonged.
There were about 30 members in my mobile unit.
Y avait-il des chams qui travaillaient?
Were there any cham working with you in that mobile unit? And if yes, how many?
There were some Cham people in my unit, but I cannot tell you how many there were.
À la même réponse que.
In the same answer from which I've just quoted an excerpt, you stated as follows: my unit consisted of 30 persons, including 25 cham. End of quote. Free translation. Does that refresh your memory as regards the large proportion of Cham working in that unit?
Yes, that is about right. I cannot tell you the exact numbers of Acham in my unit.
Mais si j'ai bien compris, quand vous dites
But if I did understand your testimony correctly, you would agree that there was a large proportion of Cham in that unit, wouldn't you?
Yes.
et comment saviez-vous ou bien avez-vous appris
And how did you know, or how did you get to know that they were Cham? How were you able to identify them as Cham?
Sometimes we could identify them the way they spoke the language.
Est-ce que vous les reconnaissiez également sur base
Were you also able to make them out from their names, which were perhaps different from the Khmer names?
Yes, we could.
Est-ce que physiquement, y avait-il
As regards their physical appearance, were there any differences between people of Khmer ethnicity and people of Cham ethnicity?
Since we worked closely with one another, then we asked about their backgrounds, and later on the Cham people, all of them were taken away. And by that time we knew the Cham were targeted and taken away to be killed, and the Khmer people were not taken away.
Bien, je vais revenir à cela également.
We'll return to that later. Do you know their villages of origin in Kangmia's district? And to be more specific, were there any villages whose population was mainly Cham at the time? That is before the mobile units were organized.
The majority of them lived in Onko Band, and that is in Pim Chikong commune. And there were some living in Sachso.
Dans l'unité itinérante,
In the district mobile unit, where those young Cham were working, were they entitled to speak the Cham language, or they had to speak Khmer like everyone else?
They actually spoke only Khmer, although they spoke the Khmer language with an accent. They did not dare speak their Cham language.
est-ce qu'ils avaient encore le droit de porter
Did they still have the right to wear their distinct clothing and to respect their traditions as well as the Muslim faith?
At that time, no, and that applied to both the Khmer and the Cham ethnicities. Religion was prohibited, and that applied to the Cham and to the Khmer people.
Et qui avait interdit de parler la...
And who forbade them to speak the Cham language or to wear Cham traditional attire, or again, to practice their religion, or rather to practice their Muslim religion? Did you hear any Khmer Rouge cadres talk about that?
អត់ដែល
I did not. However, everyone spoke the Khmer language at the time.
Est-ce que vous avez jamais entendu des cadres
Did you ever hear Khmer Rouge cadre during that period say that there were no longer any minorities in democratic Kampuchea, whether they were referring to the Cham or the Vietnamese, and they were saying that there was only one people and one nation?
មិន
I did not pay attention to that. However, amongst us, nobody spoke any other language besides the Khmer language.
Est-ce que vous pourriez raconter
Can you tell the chamber what happened to the Cham who were in your unit, in your district mobile unit?
Yes, I can do that. At that time, I was with the members of my unit, and I was assigned to clear grass far from our sleeping quarter, and I only returned at night time. I saw them being tied up and walked away while I was returning to my sleeping quarter on an ox cart, and because of the darkness, I could only identify a few of those people who were being walked in a file. And when I returned to the sleeping quarter, it was rather quiet, and there were no Cham members of the unit left. There were only the Khmer people there. So it is my understanding that they already knew who were the Cham people and who were the Khmer people, and they took away only the Cham people.
In which village and in which commune were you when these arrests of your Khmer, of your Cham colleagues took place?
Answer. It was in Sadao commune.
quand vous êtes rentré dans votre...
When you returned to your dormitory, how many Khmer were remaining on site?
Answer. Khmer people were remaining at the site, but no other ethnicity there.
Yes, but do you remember how many Khmer were remaining? Were you able to count them?
Answer. I did not count them. I knew at the time Cham people had been gathered up, and at that time I was scared and I did not count how many of us were remaining. We were Khmer after the gathering.
Do you know what happened to the relatives of these young Cham men who were arrested on that day or that evening? the relatives, the family of these members of your mobile unit? What happened to them?
Answer: I did not know at the time. We had been together before the gathering up. I did not know at that time whether the parents had been sent away first or after the arrest of children, or they were arrested at the same time. I did not know about that.
Did you learn something in that regard later on, or even after 1979?
No, I did not. I knew only the fact that Cham people had been gathered up. Later on, I did not know what happened to them. In fact, we were living in different houses far away from each other. And at that time, I did not know what happened to those Cham men.
And during the weeks or days that preceded the arrest of your Cham work colleagues, did you manage to get to know if they were afraid of being arrested, or were they surprised when they were arrested that evening? I'm simply asking you to tell me what you know. If you don't know, that's not a problem.
Answer: I did not know whether there had been other arrests before that. I learned only the arrest at the time of Cham men.
So you told us that you returned to your dormitory while seeing that Cham people were being arrested and were standing in a row. So did some of them try to escape or to resist the arrest?
Answer: I witnessed the these people on the midway while I was on an ox cart, and after I returned home, the village was quiet, and I was told that Cham people had already been arrested. I did not know or witness the resistance of Cham people. I was coming back from clearing up the grass when I noticed that Cham people had been walked away.
And can you tell us who walked them away? Who arrested them?
Answer: I did not know those guys. I did not know where they were from. I did not dare to poke into their business or to dig deep in their business.
Mais pour autant, est-ce que vous savez si...
However, do you know if they were, as you said in answer 73, if they were security agents or militiamen who carried out these arrests?
Answer: to my assumption, they may have been the security guards or militiamen. I did not I was not interested in their origin at the time. I concerned my life at the time.
Fine. But later on, you worked at Wat Otrakun. And then, would you have been able to recognize among these security agents people that you saw later on, working either at the Wat Otrakun Pagoda or in the villages and communes as militiamen? Were you able to see their faces? And if that was the case, were you able later on to see some again or to recognize some of them?
Answer. At the time, I saw those people. We parted each other a long time ago, but I can still recognize one person. The name is Puan.
Et Pun,
And this Puan whom you identified, which unit did he belong to? Was he working at the commune or district level, or was he working simply at Wat Otrakun?
Answer. He worked in Otrakun Pagoda itself.
At answer 73 of your WRI, E3 19/19.3.93, you said the following, and I quote, "This happened at night when I was with the Cham people at about 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. There was a group of security guards coming to our accommodation at Zdao village, Zdao commune, Kang Mies. They ordered the chairman of the unit to select all the Cham people and call for a meeting at a house. After that, all the Cham were tied up and sent out from that place. The chairman of the mobile unit, Chun, was on the district level mobile unit." End of quote. So, did you see these Cham people being tied up, or is this something that other people told you about?
Answer. I did not see the actual act personally. I was on midway home. I could recognize one or two of them who were tied up in strings. I did not dare to look straight into their faces. I was hurried up to eat a gruel at the time after my work, and I was told that Ajam people had been all arrested.
But you just said that you saw them standing in a row and tied up, and you recognized one or two of them. So, do you remember the names of these Chum people you recognized that evening?
Answer. I saw them midway while they were being walked away. I was on an ox cart carrying grass from work. It happened at around 6 or 7 p.m. in the evening.
donc
So my question remains the same. You said that you saw that, but when you saw them, were they tied up?
Answer. They were being walked away. I knew that they had been tied up. They had been walked away quite a few kilometers away from their locations, and I met them midway from work.
Fine. So, if I understood well, you were going to the village and you saw them on the same path being taken away from that village. So this means that they had already been arrested and that they were walking away. Is that correct?
Answer. As I said, those people had been arrested. I met them midway, and I did not know what happened before they were being walked away.
Fine. You said earlier that it was quite easy to recognize who was Cham and who wasn't, in particular because of their accent when they spoke Khmer and because of their names. So, did you ever learn that there were lists of Cham that had been drawn up within your mobile unit, within the communes and the districts?
Answer. I did not know about that. When they were walked away, I was not in charge of the data or statistics at the time. It was the unit's chief who would have known the matter.
Est-ce que vous avez
Did you learn where these young Cham men were taken to? And do you know what kind of fate was meted out to them?
Answer. A few days later, I heard from one another that those people had been killed, but I did not know where they had been killed. Some people said they were killed at Sdao Pagoda. At that time, I was so terrified since the arrest happened already, and I was afraid that I would be one among them as well.
You said at answer 71 of the same WRI I quoted from, E319/19.3.93, you said the following: the Khmer Rouge gathered all of the young Cham of my unit and slaughtered them in the Otrakun Pagoda. At that time, nothing happened to the Khmer, male and female youths. So later on, did you obtain any kind of information that these Cham people were slaughtered at the Wat Otrakun Pagoda, as you said here in the WRI?
Answer. It appears that I did not know about this matter.
dans la même
In the same answer, in which you were very specific, that is to say, answer 73, you answered the following question: as far as you knew, how did they arrest the Cham children? And you said, the next day we were informed that all of the Cham children were sent to Wat Otrokun Pagoda. End of quote. So back then you seemed to be sure that they had been sent to Wat Otrokun. Now you tell us that you know that they were arrested, but that you're not sure that they were sent to that pagoda.
Answer. I was not able to know where those people had been sent to. 3 or 4 days later, people whispered to one another that these people had been sent away and killed, but as I said, I did not know where they were killed. People whispered to one another that these people may have been killed at Dao village. I was residing and working in Dao village, and at that time I heard the whispering from one another, and I was also concerned of the matter.
I understand, of course.
President. Thank you, Mr. Deputy International Co-Prosecutor. I think it is now the appropriate time to take a short break. We may take a short break from now until 11 a.m. Court officer, please assist the witness during the break time. And please invite him back into the courtroom at 11 a.m.